What is up, everybody? Fight Hype family. What is going on? Boxing fans around the world, live from the office again. Obviously, not live in Abu Dhabi ringside tonight, but chilling here in the office here in Las Vegas, ready to call the big round by round for the WBA light heavyweight championship of the world between Zurdo Ramirez, Gilberto Ramirez, and Dmitry Bivol. But first, actually, we're kicking it off with a co-main event between the super lightweight champion Chantel Cameron against the welterweight champion Jessica McCaskill. And Jessica McCaskill actually dropping down 7 pounds. Usually when it's a champion versus a champion, it's one fighter moving up. But in this case, Jessica McCaskill, the undisputed welterweight champion, has gone to enemy territory, has dropped down to her opponent's weight class, and she's trying to become a two-time unified champion tonight. Chantel Cameron, the WBC, IBF, and Ring Magazine super lightweight champion, fighting at home, defending her belts instead of moving up 7 pounds to welterweight. But what's up? Chat is got it going already. Who you got, Shaggy? I got Bivol tonight. I got Bivol winning 116, 112, 117, 111. That's my prediction. I think that Zurdo Ramirez will really have his biggest success when he gets Bivol to the ropes and is able to get to the body and punch in combination and impose his size. But I think in the center of the ring, that Bivol will be a little faster, a little quicker. I think he has a better jab than Gilberto Ramirez and better feet than Gilberto Ramirez. So I think in the center of the ring, Bivol will do enough behind his jab to fight a disciplined fight to win a decision. But I do think Zurdo will get him to the ropes and score to the body and work some good combinations. But I think for a majority of the fight, Bivol's going to keep this in the center of the ring where he has the advantage. So we'll see. But man, chat is popping early. Fight is after Sonny, that's right. We're at Chantel Cameron first. Schuyler Kid 100 says, put your loot on Zurdo. Not bad advice from the Schuyler Kid 100, because if you're going to take a chance of trying to make some money tonight, it would be Zurdo. Zurdo's probably a bigger underdog than he deserves to be. I got Bivol winning the fight, but I checked some places where Zurdo was, plus 450, almost plus 500. That's about 5-1 odds for a guy who's 44-0, who hasn't really come close to losing a professional fight, who's naturally bigger, who's a southpaw. So I think Gilberto Ramirez, if you're looking to put some last-minute bets in, he's definitely a good value at plus 400, plus 500. That's a good bet. So, but I think Bivol wins it. Danny Lucio, has it started? No, it has not. We're starting off with Jessica McCaskill and Chantel Cameron. Jessica McCaskill, she's the welterweight champ, but she's never been a tall welterweight, a big welterweight. So I'm not expecting her to drop down this 7 pounds to do her too much harm, if at all. She looked pretty healthy right now here at the ring introduction. She doesn't look drained or gaunt in the face or anything. So, yeah, Chantel Cameron, meanwhile, looking mean, 16-0, 8 knockouts from Northampton. Mean-looking girl. Had some bad blood this week in the fight. Told Jessica McCaskill, your face is going to drop. You're going to be shocked when you feel the power when I hit you in round 1. So there was some didn't shake Jessica McCaskill's hand. Jessica McCaskill, a little bit of an outcast for being an undisputed welterweight champ. She retired the first lady of boxing, Cecilia Brækhus. But Jessica McCaskill, actually shorter, looking like the smaller fighter, despite being the welterweight coming down in weight here at the stare down. But Jessica McCaskill, not clicked up like the other female champions, Baumgardner, Franchon Cruz DeZern, Clarissa Shields, Amanda Serrano, all took a picture recently. They're all friendly with Katie Taylor. Baumgardner's not, but besides her, they're all friendly with Michaela Mayer. But Jessica McCaskill, a little bit of a loner. And here we go, round 1. Jessica McCaskill starting off aggressive and not pretty. Chantel Cameron trying to be the more proper boxer on the back foot to start, and actually walks McCaskill into a couple of shots as McCaskill comes in a little wild here, like she's known to do in round 1. And Chantel Cameron looking to take it. Oh, good right hand lands over the top for Jessica McCaskill. She has a lot of steam early on, and she does slow down after 3 or 4 rounds. Good jab lands for Chantel Cameron. And now McCaskill trying to cut distance a little sloppily, letting her hands go with a 1-2-3. Cameron getting her hands up to block it. Now Cameron catching her with a jab as McCaskill tries to shoot a 2-1, throwing the power hand first and then following up with the jab. Cameron fighting good in the clinch there after Oh, good. Another good jab by Chantel Cameron at long range. Cameron fighting, throwing to the body with the right hand off the jab. McCaskill lunging in right here early in this first round. A little sloppy for the welterweight champion. Oh, good right hand lands for McCaskill, though. Off the 1-2. McCaskill coming in and taunts Chantel Cameron. Says, come on, I thought you wanted to fight. But Cameron trying to box behind her jab early on. This is where McCaskill is at her best in the first 3 to 4 rounds. She comes out very tough. 30 seconds left in this round. McCaskill has eaten some jabs, but she's ahead in the round because she's landed some hard right hands. McCaskill gets the overhand right blocked. Cameron trying to box cleanly from the distance. Backing straight away, gets away from a lunging right hand from Jessica McCaskill, and now Cameron comes in with a sweeping right hand, a left hook. McCaskill blocks that right hand, but landed the left hook, did Cameron. Now Cameron gets the better of it as McCaskill opens up sloppy in the exchange to finish the round. Good first round. Chantel Cameron did walk Jessica McCaskill into some shots, but I think McCaskill landed enough of those overhand and straight right hands, landed her right hand enough to win the first round, but it does look like if she loses steam, she's going to get countered more and more cleanly by Chantel Cameron as it goes on, but she did enough to win round 1. Let's see right now. Did the fight start already? No, we're at the co-main if you're talking about main event. Omar Munoz says Bivol's going to trade one too many times and get clips, dropped and stopped. I don't see Bivol doing that. Bivol fights very disciplined. He fought extremely disciplined against Canelo. It's not in his temperament anyways to take chances. So I don't think that's going to happen. If Zurdo's going to beat Bivol, he's going to have to outwork him. He's going to have to be very successful getting to the body when he gets him on the ropes. And he's going to have to use his length and box better than people are expecting in the center of the ring. Zurdo is actually more of a natural boxer than he is an aggressive, get to the body kind of guy. That's something he's developed as he's gotten older. But his natural temperament is the box. And, he'll have to surprise Bivol with his boxing skills when he's in the center of the ring and then turn it up when he imposes his will on the ropes. But right now, to start the first 30 seconds of this fight, of this co-main event, McCaskill getting caught a little bit, coming in sloppy by Chantel Cameron, who is keeping better technique right now, keeping a high guard and better jab than Jessica McCaskill. Oh, but hard left hook lands for Jessica McCaskill as she comes in with her jab. Not as sharp a jab as Chantel Cameron, but Jessica McCaskill, a dog, coming in with no respect. Ooh, getting caught with some left hands by Chantel Cameron, but she punches through it. By far not afraid to take one to land one is Jessica McCaskill, and she is the bigger, stronger girl coming down from welterweight. Yeah, Jessica McCaskill, man, not trying to be pretty in there. Good work on the inside from Chantel Cameron. Push it, tries to create a little distance now. Chantel Cameron trying to punch in close range and then push McCaskill off of her and then get reset back to her boxing. Good body shot by Chantel Cameron. She sweeped the right hand of the body and brought up a left hook up top. Good 2 punches in the center of the ring. Now McCaskill drives her back with a 1-2. These aren't textbook form on these shots by Jessica McCaskill, but and then kind of rough defense there by Jessica McCaskill. Not textbook, but she did a good job of keeping that left hand at her waist and keeping her right hand by her chin and slipping down and not getting hit. Good left hook to the body by Chantel Cameron. But McCaskill, the more comfortable fighter in there early on. Wings a big right hand and misses. And Chantel Cameron trying to counter. I think Cameron did enough countering that round, even though she looks like the more uncomfortable fighter. McCaskill coming in aggressive with no respect for what's coming back, but she did get touched up a little bit that round. Give that one to Chantel Cameron, 19-19 after 2. But let's see. Can the Bivol fight start already? Says Dave Phoenix. Hey, we got to call the ladies in there. Top 2 going at it. Well, the top welterweight going up against the top super lightweight. Jessica looking wild, says Samuel C. She does. She does. Fabian Zaka. Are you afraid? No. Afraid of what, my friend? Let's see. MMA UFC says Bivol is extremely disciplined. He's aware of Zurdo's power, so he won't risk. Yeah, he just keeps things tight and sharp. Javier Guzman says, yo, Sean, you're the best. You talk straight up truth about boxing. Keep it up. Thank you, Javier. Appreciate you, brother. You know, we keep it real. All right, round 3. Let's see if Chantel Cameron can, you know, with her cleaner technique, kind of start to establish control. McCaskill, I've seen her ringside after rounds 3 or 4, she does start to slow down a little bit. Good jab lands for Chantel Cameron. McCaskill keeping her left hand low at her waist right there in the center of the ring. Right hand up, but she ate the jab. There's Caskill not always keeping her eyes up when she slips shots, but she is slipping some of them, no problem. Cameron getting off the cleaner work in the first minute of round 3. Good body shot by Cameron in the clinch. Now Cameron backs out. McCaskill staying on top of her, hasn't taken a step back all fight long. McCaskill dipping down. And now Cameron not happy with that. McCaskill showing the back of her head, dipping down a little too far there to get away from punches. Oh, nice right uppercut, left hook in the exchange. Lands for McCaskill, though. And McCaskill sometimes swinging freely, and it looks like her chin's there to be hit, but she's savvy enough and moves her head around enough that it doesn't hit, even when it looks like it's there to land. She's moving her head. Ooh, good right hand lands for Chantel Cameron, but McCaskill, giving half her body, took some of the steam off of it and rolled it. McCaskill getting rough in there, letting her hands go in combination. Cameron not countering well enough, perhaps, to get that round. Cameron getting off cleaner to finish the 10 seconds. Oh, shorter inside punches by Chantel Cameron. Left hook knocks Jessica McCaskill back a little bit to end round 3. Good finish to the round there for Chantel Cameron. Good back and forth third round. Close round to score. But at home, you'd think Chantel Cameron's going to get close rounds like that. Oh. You'd think Chantel's going to get rounds like that. It was real close. She had a good first 45 seconds of the round. McCaskill got a good right uppercut, left hook in the exchange, and stayed on top of her after that. But then, you know, very sloppy at times as McCaskill. Cameron with better technique, shorter punches, landed a nice left hook at the bell. That's a close third round. Well, I mean, I keep saying that McCaskill's gone to enemy's territory. They're not in the United Kingdom. They're in Abu Dhabi, but the promoter is, you know, Eddie Hearn. The network is DAZN, and, you know, even though McCaskill fights on DAZN too, it's more local to Chantel Cameron, being that it's an Eddie Hearn fight and whatnot. So you'd think in close rounds like that, it's going to be Chantel Cameron. Cameron getting off first here to start the 4th. Good right uppercut lands for Cameron. In the exchanges, McCaskill coming forward with both hands, but not clean. Tom Thumb, my man, thank you. Respect, Sean. Your watch-alongs are always the best, particularly the later rounds. You really inject real talk and energy into it. Thank you, man. And you know it'll be the same tonight with Zurdo and Bivol. I imagine it's going to be a chess match, but the fight will heat up at some point, and that's when just naturally my intensity heats up along with the fight, especially if it's close, you know. But thank you so much, Tom, for the good words. Gaming Chamber Plus, dude, why aren't you in Dubai? I don't have my passport, actually. I've never left the United States. You know, I'm you know, never left the United States. I want to go. I want to start. I do want to cover fights. You know, I do want to cover a fight in the United Kingdom. Now they got all these fights in Dubai. At some point, to properly do my job, I'm gonna have to get a passport and get over there. But although you know, I do get to fake virtue signal for the time being, right, and say I'm not contributing and assisting to a regime that's got all that blood money over there in the Middle East. But we got blood money in America too. Blood money is everywhere. Anyways, different topic. But I do want to go over there at some point. Oh, Alex Stancato, man, Sean Z, I swear I seen you driving down Alta. That's what's up. Yeah, man, that was me. That was me getting my running in down here on Alta Drive in Las Vegas. So Alex, you must live out here in Las Vegas, man. That's awesome. I don't live far from there, and that is where I get my runs at. I run down Alta Drive and get 3, 4, 5 miles. Meanwhile, in the fight, Chantel Cameron getting the better of it here. That's it for round 4. My eyes were up on the screen half the time as I was talking to you guys, and it looked like Chantel Cameron was getting the better of it. Because like I said, McCaskill slows down after about 3 rounds. She comes out hot with her right hand. And then after about 3, she'll slow down. And if Cameron, who looks like the better boxer, better technique, she could take advantage of that as this fight goes on. It looks like she started to do that in round 4. Let's see the replay on DAZN. Yep. Chantel Cameron keeping her right hand up, blocking the left hook from Jessica McCaskill, and she landed her left uppercut right there. There she is on another replay from DAZN, out jabbing Jessica McCaskill. So the replays seem to favor Chantel Cameron, and they do show her getting the better of these exchanges. Sean, who you got? Bivol or Ramirez? What's up, double zeros? I do got Bivol. Chakad Fear, shout out Sean Z. I like the new haircut, my guy. I know we're not there, but who do you have in the main event? Again, I got Bivol, and I said earlier in the stream, I got Bivol. I just think in the center of the ring, he should be able to put together 8 or 9 rounds out of 12, maybe only 7. But I think Zurdo's best moments are going to come when he's able to pin Bivol on the ropes. But maybe Zurdo can really surprise with his boxing ability in the center of the ring. He was always a good boxer at 168 back when he was fighting on HBO. As he moved up to 75 and left Top Rank, he started to fight in more of that traditional Mexican style and dig with his right hook to the body. So I expect a competitive fight, but I think Bivol's a little quicker. He's got the better jab and he's got the better defense. And I think he'll keep it in the center of the ring enough behind his jab to win the fight against Ramirez. Right now, McCaskill actually trying to turn it up. DAZN has this fight 4-0 for Chantel Cameron. I don't see it that wide. I think McCaskill's in the fight. I got 3-1 for Cameron. And McCaskill starting off the 5th, really letting her hands go, not landing everything, but turning up her energy, turning up the volume a little bit here on Chantel Cameron. Good left hook there by Chantel Cameron. Now Cameron might look to get her work in after. Oh, good left hand as McCaskill tried to pull out with her hands down by Chantel Cameron. Chantel Cameron missing the 1-2-3, but lands the right uppercut. Beautiful job by Cameron, missing her 1-2-3 combination, but then bringing the right uppercut right underneath to hit McCaskill. Now she lands a right hand after missing the jab. Cameron finishing the final minute of the 5th with more accurate counter punches than Jessica McCaskill started the first round with in her aggression. Cameron getting the better of this fight right now. Better boxer. But Jessica McCaskill with a savvy way of moving her head or getting her head off the line. She flurries wild along the ropes to finish the 5th. Just better technique, better placement from Chantel Cameron. I got this 4 rounds to 1 for her. McCaskill tough as always, but sloppy. But a little more savvy than you'd think with moving her head, Jessica McCaskill. All right, let's see here. Checking the chat with y'all. Bruce Wayne, Team Spence turned down $25 million up front. That's the news. Well, allegedly $25 million. We don't know how. Sometimes those offers come on the table, then they go through, and then also there's the speculation with Daniel Kinahan, and even if the money is real, if it's attached to that guy and the U.S. government gets wind of it, you're going to lose all that money and face bigger repercussions anyways. But I hear your point. It's hey, if this guy has a better offer, even if it's not with who you thought it was going to be all along, PBC, Showtime, Fox, and if he can come up with more money and you can somehow prove it's not attached to Kinahan to where they could, face repercussions from the U.S. government for it, then I understand criticism for Errol Spence, even because even if it's, well, you're going to fight on the app with no visibility. Who cares? Money's green, right? If we can make more money fighting over here than over there and you don't want to do it, then I understand fans criticizing. But two $25 million guarantees isn't as cut and dry as Terrence would make it. He he wouldn't reveal who those are, probably for a reason. You know, that maybe Kinahan is behind that money. I don't know. We don't know. It's all speculation, but you're allowed to speculate when he wouldn't clarify, not just to us, but to Errol Spence. And there's animosity there. You know, there's bad blood there between the PBC and Terrence Crawford. It looks to me like Terrence has ill feelings towards them, and that may and you know, they out of their own mouth said you're on the wrong side of the street. So it's a mess, and in it involves a lot of the politics that's wrong with boxing. But yeah, just to respond to your comment, you know. King says Spence turned down $25 million. Might be Warren Buffett, says against the ropes. I don't think so, but you never know. But I think they'd be pretty out front if it was Warren Buffett. So Weedy Gonzalez said, "Yep, money laundering," and I think money laundering has been rampant in boxing. I mean, you can even look at DAZN with Leonard Blavatnik, who is a legal billionaire. I mean, he's a legal Russian billionaire oligarch. Sir Leonard Blavatnik, also a United Kingdom citizen, but he's lost over $1 billion on this network. And Chantel Cameron getting the better of this, by the way, guys. He's lost over $1 billion on this network, and his response was to pour more billions of dollars into it. Now, on the books, on the up and up, he's a legitimate billionaire, but that's still just fishy that he'd be so okay with just essentially burning his money. You know, and there's a number of fighters, I won't name names, where they have all this money and mansions and cars, and the ticket sale, they only sell 4,000 to 5,000 seats in their fights when they fight. And they're drawing to the arena less than $1 million, but it seems like over the years they're walking away with millions of dollars. So that's kind of doesn't add up either. So there's been a lot of funny money that's gone through boxing, you know, all the way back in the mafia days when, you know, it was actually called the IBC. If you look up and read up on that, certain fights weren't made. Charlie Burley didn't get to fight guys from the IBC, and it's always been funny stuff in boxing. So let's see. Zurdo going to be faster than normal. If he goes to the body from the first round, he could upset Bivol, but I don't think it's enough, says G-Man7. CX Never Dies says you have to spend money to make money, baby. That's true. All right, let's get back. Mexicans for Bivol, says Dababic. Shout out to... where are you at? I saw your comment somewhere. Shout out to BKG 30M. Thank you, sir. Oh, they trade right hands right here. 7th round. Looks like Chantel Cameron has got the lead in this fight. Good jab just lands for Jessica McCaskill, and then actually shoots a right hand over the jab of Chantel Cameron. Minute left. Good right hand lands again for Jessica McCaskill, but Chantel Cameron comes back with a left hand, but now McCaskill lands another right hand. That's her best punch. Chantel Cameron now cut around the left eye, some bleeding around her left eye and around the bridge of her nose from those right hands. That's McCaskill's shot. Right hands landing on the left side of the face and has cut up Chantel Cameron. Ooh, nice little touch right hand, sets up a left hook for McCaskill, and then a hard right hand. She drops it in right after that. Good 7th round right now for Jessica McCaskill. Lands 2 up jabs. She eats a straight right hand from Chantel Cameron, but takes it no problem. They trade 2 jabs. Cameron looking a little more uncomfortable right now. Good long right hand lands for Jessica McCaskill. That does it to end round 7. Looks like Jessica McCaskill got that 7th round. And she's cut up and bruised Chantel Cameron now, who built up a good lead in those first 5 rounds here. Now they're going to Zurdo in the dressing room. Zurdo looking sharp on the mitts, but he doesn't keep his guard as tight as Bivol. Bivol keeps it extremely tight elbows in. To get real technical with it, Zurdo just doesn't keep his elbows in as good as Dmitry Bivol, and he doesn't have as authoritative a jab. So we'll see. We'll see that can cost him in the center of the ring against Bivol. But this should be a hell of a fight. Zurdo looks in tremendous shape in the dressing room. Strong and cut up, rehydrated extremely well. No fat on his body whatsoever. And Bivol just working on footwork in the dressing room, not throwing punches, as Zurdo was working on some combinations to the head. Inverse Kramer said, plus 235, Jessica, please win. I need to pay my debt. Well, it looks like she's behind, but she did have a good 7th round. So let's see. And she cut Cameron in that round. So let's see if she can get to her here in the 8th round. She's coming in with that lead left low, firing off 1-2s. Chantel Cameron backing away. Gets her hand up to block a left hook, but McCaskill getting off offensively first in the first 30 seconds of the 8th. Chantel Cameron not wanting to get into a dogfight, wants to keep picking her counter shots. But McCaskill trying to force her into one, having a good first minute of the 8th is Jessica McCaskill. Hasn't landed too much, but being pretty relentless. Chris Mannix gave the 7th to McCaskill. I gave her the 2nd. So I got it at least 5-2. She could still come back and salvage a draw if she could put together this round and the next 2. 2 good left hands land for Jessica McCaskill. Again, kind of awkward. Looks like her chin's right there to be hit, but she moves her head around well, better than you think. And then she'll throw these sloppy punches, but she'll dip her head to the side when she throws them. Good jab lands for Chantel Cameron, but she's letting McCaskill dictate too much here. Nice lead right hand landed for Jessica McCaskill from the hip. Not an up jab, but an up right hand, you could call it. McCaskill moving her head around, getting underneath Cameron's left hooks, and then backing out, making her miss the right hand. Nice jab to the body by Chantel Cameron. Wild left uppercut misses for Jessica McCaskill in the center of the ring. Good jab lands for Chantel Cameron. Cameron got to work off their jab. That's where she's had success. Good 2 jab. Oh, hard 1-2 off 2 jabs for Jessica McCaskill. Good 8th round. Jessica McCaskill keeping her punches long and shooting them really from at her waist, not even keeping her hands up, but then kind of awkwardly just moving her head out of the way as she punches and not getting touched. Good 7th and 8th rounds for Jessica McCaskill. Chantel Cameron is going to need one of these last 2 rounds. Let's see. Bruce Wayne says, why can't David get in with anyone of note, bro? Well, it sounds like he's getting Caleb Plant finally in the first half of next year. So looks like we'll get that fight on a pay-per-view, they're saying. I know PBC has a couple of dates open. It sounds like they're taking the Cinco de Mayo date with Canelo not fighting in Cinco de Mayo. They have the night before the Super Bowl on hold at the MGM. That would be sick. I kind of would love that. I think that's a great first pay-per-view fight of the year would be Benavidez and Plant the night before the Super Bowl here in Vegas. So sounds like he's finally getting his shot. Jeremiah says, how do I feel about this week's big news? Are you talking about David and Caleb or are you talking about what happened with Terrence and Errol Spence? All right, round 9. I'll get back to you in a moment. Zanabek next Saturday, Sanisa Estrada. Yep, I'll be there. I'll be in the house. I will be in the house. All right, let's see if Jessica McCaskill pulls off her rally. She's off to a good start tonight. Letting go of a lot of 1-2s from the hip. Now she shoots a right uppercut from the hip off the jab. Oh, good 1-2. And again, Jessica doing a good job of swimming without getting wet in her own way. It's not the sexiest way. It's not the highlight reel way, but she does it. She gets it done. She gets her head off the line as she exchanges in close and she lands her shots. And it doesn't look pretty, but she's got the momentum right now against Chantel Cameron, who can't steady herself right now. Oh, good jab by Chantel Cameron. That's the key. She's got to just start back with the jab and not look for the power shots off the counter. because McCaskill does a good job of taking advantage of that and actually getting out of the way of the counter power shot. And then now she's got her in an exchange in her wheelhouse where she wants her. 30 seconds left in the ninth. McCaskill winging an overhand right and a left hook, missing, but Cameron not doing enough offensively. Oh, good right hand lands again for Jessica McCaskill. Oh, another right hand lands for Jessica McCaskill. Cameron in retreat. Chantel Cameron, the left side of her face is really starting to get marked up and beaten up from those right hands by Jessica McCaskill. That's her shot, like I told you guys. Oh, good 1-2 by Chantel Cameron. And McCaskill takes it well, but that's 3 straight rounds, 7, 8, and 9 for Jessica McCaskill. Fight could be on the table here in the 10th. I'm talking about Plant and Benavidez, says Jeremiah. Love that fight. And actually, Action Jackson says Plant is going to knock out David Benavidez. Weedy Gonzalez said she's super awkward, like the drunken boxer Emmanuel Augustus, but nowhere near as slick. Right, but she's not getting hit. Is Jessica McCaskill these last 3 rounds. Swimming without getting wet, and the left side of Chantel Cameron's face is becoming a little grotesque as we go on. But yeah, Plant Benavidez, you said Plant knocks out Benavidez. I got Benavidez winning late in that fight, kind of like Canelo did, getting Caleb along the ropes at some point in the second half and getting a stoppage. But I think it's going to be he's going to get really tested in that fight. We're going to see how well he could take it and not just dish it out. We know he could dish it out, but David Caleb was much more impressive against Anthony Durrell than David was. David came back, looked a lot more human against Anthony Durrell. Only let his hands go when he got Durrell to the ropes. He didn't really do that much work in the center of the ring. And Caleb, with his youth and speed and sharpness compared to Durrell, is going to force him in the center of the ring with his ring generalship. And David stands straight up sometimes, and he squares his feet up, and he's there to be. He gets hit, he actually hasn't been getting hit that much. But I think with the things I just said, Caleb's going to be able to check him with that hook. He's going to pelt him with the jab upstairs and downstairs. So I got David, but Caleb, when I went back and watched Durrell, he really was more impressive against Durrell than David was, and he looked really good against Durrell. So I got David stopping him in the second half of a great fight, but I don't count Caleb out, man. With the way David walks straight up and the way David better be ready to use his jab in the center of the ring in that fight, and I'm sure he will. It's gonna be a hell of a fight and a great trash talk leading up to it. But meanwhile, Cameron and McCaskill, minute left in the fight. Fight's on the table. Cameron got a little bit of the better of it in that first minute, able to place her shots better in the exchanges, a little more accurate. Now she lands nice 2 right uppercuts. Oh, and a nice left hand as McCaskill pulled out with her hands down. Now McCaskill lands a right hand, but Cameron, good body shot by Chantel Cameron, pushing McCaskill along the ropes. Cameron showing some dog now after having the fight taken to it. Now McCaskill lands a 1-2-1 and backs Cameron straight up, but Cameron comes right back firing. 20 seconds left. Right hand lands for McCaskill. Fight is really close in the 10th. It's on the table. They exchange right hands. Cameron follows up with a left hand to land it. 10 seconds left. You'd think in a close fight like this, it's going to go to the A-side fighter, Chantel Cameron, because that was a close 10th round. McCaskill not able to dominate the 10th like she took the 7th, 8th, and 9th. That was a close 10th round. Cameron won the first half of that fight. I imagine Cameron's going to get a close decision here. I'd be surprised if McCaskill, essentially on the road here, gets a close verdict against Chantel Cameron, who is definitely more known in overseas than McCaskill is. McCaskill came out strong, won the first round in my card, won 7, 8, and 9, and there are a couple close rounds there, but we'll see. I feel like Cameron's going to get a close call here. Let's see. Younger David, older Durrell, said Weedy Gonzalez. Great point by. I agree. David's is probably a better fighter now than he was 3 years ago in LA when he fought Durrell. And Durrell had more in the tank when he fought David than when he fought Plant. I agree. And that may have had something to do with why ultimately Plant did look more impressive than David did against that common opponent, Anthony Durrell. But Caleb fought a perfect kind of boxer puncher, leaning more on the boxer side of things. fight against Anthony Durrell. It was a beautiful performance. And he's going to be the best opponent by far that David's ever gotten in with. And a lot of what David will give Caleb problems with, he's actually seen already with Canelo. And if that performance didn't take anything from him mentally, physically, or spiritually even, and it didn't look like it did against Durrell, he looked 100% sharp, then that's experience that's valuable for him heading into this fight with David. He knows he's been in there with a guy who stalks you until he corners you in the ropes and kills your body. And so he knows what to expect at the highest level now, having gone against that. David hasn't had that luxury, hasn't had that experience. He hasn't faced a great slick boxer like Caleb, although Durrell boxed well in their fight and did have fast hands at that time. So Caleb's more prepared for David than David is Caleb. And also, even though, if David tries to fight Caleb the way he did Durrell, essentially only letting go of his hands when he gets him to the ropes, it's going to be a problem. And he can't, Canelo putting the pressure on, short guy, knows how to get low, got low underneath the jab, got low underneath Caleb's punches, and he moves his head constantly and is a shorter guy. Low. David comes in standing straight up sometimes, and standing straight up, and he squares his feet, and he isn't coming in with quite the head movement that Canelo. No one comes in with the head movement on the front foot Canelo Alvarez does. So, those experiences benefit Caleb because they didn't break him. What doesn't kill you doesn't make you stronger. So, but that said, I still got David. I just think David's going to have to use his, and Chantel Cameron gets the decision like I expected. Cameron wins this fight over Jessica McCaskill. Close fight. McCaskill was better in the second half, and Cameron was better in the first half. But Cameron actually was the defending champion here. She was the A side, so she gets the close call. No complaints here. But yeah, back to David and Caleb. Yeah, I got David, but it's gonna be a great fight based on a lot of the things I'm saying here. I even took some notes watching them the other night. Let's see what I took. Yeah, just everything I already said. Some of my notes on. Sometimes I watch that tape and get some notes. Benavidez Plant. Plant can catch Benavidez standing straight up like he did against Durrell. He took punches against Durrell well. When I went back, Durrell hit him with some shots and he took them well. It'll come down to the battle of the jabs to see who dictates. And can Plant's ring generalship offset David for 12? Can Plant fight the perfect kind of boxer-puncher fight like he did with his trainer Breadman against Durrell? Or can Benavidez inevitably make it look like the Canelo fight and stop him late? We'll have to see if David can take it and not just dish it out, something he hasn't had to do since Gavril. But yeah, I still got David because he has a great jab, and he'll have to show that in this fight. And I think if you have a great jab and he has great hand speed too, on the outside, then you're not in no man's land at long range in the center of the ring. But he'll have to put it to use, and he'll have to use his jab in the center of the ring, and then he can kill Caleb on the ropes. David is dynamite when he gets you on the ropes. So he'll have to hold his own with his jab in the center of the ring, and he'll have to tighten things up defensively. David has reflexes. We haven't had to see them much, but if you watch David's tapes, he does have good reflexes in terms of his head movement. But and he keeps a good high guard. Some punches leak through, but he has a good high guard and he has good reflexes. But hasn't had to show the kind of defensive nuance so far in his last several fights. And he'll have to be on his P's and Q's more against Caleb. And that's gonna be a great fight. That's gonna be a great fight. And then Spence and Crawford, I took some notes too while we're on it. I said Spence Crawford, guaranteed really good fight. Only way it wouldn't have been is years ago when Crawford really had his legs and he could have made it more of a real chess match. But these days, Terence Crawford is more like Juan Manuel Marquez was. He gets hit, but he hits you back 3 times more on the counter. So yeah, that was some notes I took the other night about Crawford and Spence and why it would actually guarantee to be a good fight stylistically. Because the only way it wouldn't have been is if Terence had his legs set like he did against Postal 6 years ago, and he would have used a lot of lateral movement to make that fight more tactical. But like I said, he's more like Juan Manuel Marquez these days, where he gets hit and the defense isn't the great. He has a little bit. He's a little more athletic than Marquez and lengthier. So, but it's more so the counter punching is the defense these days. It's you might land one, but you're getting hit with 2 or 3 back. So that fight stylistically would be a great fight, as we all know. That's why we all want to see it. Who do I got? Spence or Thurman? Spence. Spence, because he's just a more consistent fighter. Thurman, as the fight wears on, fights in spurts more. But Thurman's still dangerous because he has punching power. He's not as fast and as athletic as he was in his 20s, but a Keith Thurman with 90% of his speed and athleticism is still fast. And he's still fast. And against Mario Barrios, he set some good traps there. And started to slow things down a little bit. Less excessive lateral movement, more stepping off pivots. And he walked Barrios into some beautiful shots there. And still had the athleticism to jump in with shots and jump out of range at times. So, it's still a good fight, but Thurman, having fought twice in 3 years, and he doesn't take it to the body well. And Spence is one of the most disciplined and greatest body punchers in the sport today. And Spence has a great work rate behind a busy, heavy jab. I think it's a good fight still. I think Thurman walks Spence into some bombs. I think Thurman could even hurt Spence at some point in the fight. But I just think Spence is so much more consistent than Thurman. And one of Thurman's kryptonites have been body shots. And Spence is, might be the most disciplined body puncher in boxing today. So it's still a good fight, but I got Spence. And I think Spence always would have won for those reasons. But Thurman is always dangerous. It's a good fight. I'd rather see Boots against Thurman or against Crawford or Spence instead of Thurman. But Clemenen says Thurman got cracked, so he does still have power. And he can walk you into it. He can set traps still. So he's still dangerous. Action Jackson, yep. He does set good traps. Thurman's got IQ, though, and power. I agree. Clemenen says Crawford still has his leg. Yeah, he still got his leg, but not like 140. Not like the Jeff Horn fight. The Jeff Horn fight is the last time I really saw those springy bunnies in his legs. They're heavier these days. I mean, he's 35 years old. Ask any of the old-time great trainers what they all say. The first thing to go is the legs. And that's changed as time's gone on. Bernard Hopkins kept his legs into his 40s. Although Bernard taught me one thing. The older he got, he had to pick between one or the other. If he had his legs underneath it, except the Kelly Pavlik fight, that was just incredible. But Bernard, as he got older, if he wanted his offense to be good with his counter punches, if he wanted his counters to count, he'd have to fight more planted. If he wanted to get hit less and fight a very cautious fight, that's when he would have his legs. But he couldn't get the offense off. He couldn't put it all together. When he was in his prime against Trinidad, he could move and hit for 12 rounds. As he got older, he kind of had to pick more and more between one or the other, except for the Kelly Pavlik fight. But even against Pavlik, he was more planted, didn't use too much excess lateral movement. So let me see here. What Jeremiah said, what about Frank Martin versus Michel Rivera in December? Good fight. Good fight because you're not going to see that matchup almost ever in boxing anymore. Too much protection going on, where you're not going to see two guys in the top 10 of a title shot, in the top 10 mandatory rankings, and they're undefeated and they're getting TV fights. And, usually they're going to play it safe until they get a real shot against a world champion or a vacant title shot at the mandatory. These kind of fights used to be on the main event of Boxing After Dark, and where it was two undefeated guys that really had talent, that really could fight for a world title or win a world title one day. But they got some decent little money put on the table and got a main event in before they got to the title fight. That stuff used to happen on HBO and Showtime more often back in the day. So I like that fight. Frank Martin's more explosive. He punches harder. But Michel Rivera can win that fight behind his jab. Michel Rivera, nicknames himself Ali. Like Muhammad Ali, fights behind the jab primarily. He has a good jab. He's long. He has good feet. So Frank Martin, is probably used to being the more faster athletic guy in there. Let's see how he adjusts to having to cut the distance and having to maybe take one to land one. Because if he thinks he could box at range with Michel Rivera, Rivera might just jab him to death and move, jab and step off, and Martin might have to go get him. And let's see if Frank Martin has that gear in him to go get a guy, to go be the hunter, and not just box and let his talent do the work for him and the skills. Let's see if he's a hunter, because I think he's going to have to be a hunter against Michel Rivera. James Kelly, thank you, brother, for the 10. Shout out to James Kelly. FightHype, I have a family event to go to, but I'm going with Bivol because of his calm demeanor. Ooh. James Kelly, thank you so much, brother, for the super chat. So yeah, and you're picking Bivol because I imagine you're taking a look at these guys in the dressing room and everything before they're set to walk to the ring, and you're kind of reading their spirit, and sometimes there's something to glean from that. There really is. Most of the times you have it in your head who's going to win before the fight, but I'd be lying if I said there's been times. Josh Taylor, Jose Ramirez was one. I picked Jose Ramirez, but I got a sense from the ring walk, from the way Josh Taylor came into the arena that night, that I picked the wrong guy. So I get what you're saying by picking a guy based off demeanor in the dressing room or something like that. Sometimes the eyes are the window to the soul, right? I mean, that's a famous phrase, and sometimes you can see it, who's going to win and who's not, literally from the look in each fighter's eyes. As they make their way to the ring. I've seen that before. Let's see here. Virgil versus Crawford. I still got to go Crawford. Virgil, still hasn't shown me enough nuance defensively. I still think Crawford would find the gaps in his high guard, and that's his main line of defense. I don't think Virgil has great head movement at this stage. I do think his youth, his activity, his power, his combination punching, his size would all give him a chance to pull off an upset against Crawford. But ultimately, why would I still pick Crawford? I just think he'd find too many gaps in Virgil's high guard as that fight went on. And he'd start to hit Virgil too clean with uppercuts, with hooks, with power shots. And I think he'd stop Virgil. But there's a chance that Virgil could win that fight. I wish that were the fight Crawford was taking if he's not going to fight Errol Spence. I thought all along his real plan B would be a go get a bag on DAZN and fight Virgil Ortiz. So, all right, main event time. Here comes Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. I don't know if he's coming out with narco corridos. I don't know if this is mariachi. I don't know if this is banda or chunti. I'm gonna take a guess he's coming out to the corridos. Here comes Zurdo Ramirez, cowboy hat and all. Promoter Oscar De La Hoya in the ring. Zurdo with the white trunks with the Mexican colors trimming. White robe, white gloves, black cowboy hat, green and red trimming for the Mexican colors on the robe. Oh, Jaleel Palmer, thank you, brother. $5 from Jaleel Palmer. Thank you, brother. Rolling with the underdog Ramirez. I always thought he would get more exposure in bigger fights since he beat Jesse Hart. And I remember it was so hard for him to get a big fight, Jaleel. He had to fight Jesse Hart twice. And he beat him clean the first time, but the second time he dominated him. First fight was good. That was a good fight. And then he had that falling out with Bob Arum and never got a big fight. There was talks he was going to fight Golovkin back at 68. That never happened. Arum tried to lure David Benavidez to top rank back in, I think it was 2018, 2017. And Arum's entire plan was to make a fight between Benavidez and Ramirez. But, ultimately Benavidez got reeled back into PBC. And so, Arum, one of Arum's rare misfires with an undefeated kind of Mexican Latin. Arum usually knows what he's doing with an undefeated guy in the Latin market. But Ramirez winds up leaving him, has to fight in limbo on DAZN for the last couple years, had to fight on Fight TV, pay-per-view, gets aligned with Oscar De La Hoya, And now at 44-0, he gets a shot at Dmitry Bivol. He gets a chance to right a wrong for Mexican boxing. So if he were to have beaten Bivol before, it'd have been a big win, but much bigger stakes, much bigger potential to become a star for Zurdo now, because in Mexico, this is the fighter who beat their man Canelo. So Zurdo has a huge chance to not only become a world champion at light heavyweight tonight, but probably to become a star in Mexico if he could avenge Canelo Alvarez. Let's see here. Mula said, that ain't shot, that's Ashton's intel. Yes, sir. Ashton Kutcher, baby Ashton Kutcher in the flesh. Kelso in the flesh. No. Virgil is entertaining, says Bruce Wayne. Never had a boring fight. Nope. Never gonna have a boring fight with that style. For as long as he fights like that, it's not gonna be boring. Just to mention a random fighter, Rayo Valenzuela, who lost his last fight to De Los Santos, the Dominican. But Rayo Valenzuela is never going to be in a bad fight. And that's why I still, despite him losing on a pay-per-view, bring him back if you want to throw him on the next Fox pay-per-view, because he's fun to watch. And so is Virgil Ortiz. Clemenin said, Mexico don't rock with Canelo like that. You know, it's interesting because it's kind of like Oscar, where there's this theory that they're not beloved by all of the Mexican fans, but box office shows otherwise. Now, just because people pay to watch you doesn't mean they love you. I get that. But I think that's all they care about at the end of the day, right? You know, so there's always this talk, do Mexicans really love Canelo? They really love Oscar de la Hoya, but at the same time, they never showed up at the box office for any other fighters more than they have those two. Even Chavez didn't draw the pay-per-view revenue that guys like Canelo Alvarez did. So here we go. Mexican Americans love him. Okay. I'm talking about Canelo. Weedy Gonzalez says De Los Santos whipped him. Good. Talking about Rayo. You think it's because he was really a lace replacement? I don't think so. I think Rayo just has defensive flaws he's been needing to work on. He's offense first. And I think he thinks his reflexes are better than they really are. He thinks he's got like Jaron Ennis, Roy Jones reflexes where your hands don't have to be in good positioning and you could just rely on the reflex to land the shot and not get touched back. I just think Rayo still has good potential, still has really good potential as a good offensive fighter, but just needed to shore some things up defensively. And De Los Santos showed him that, man, Bivol is game face in the ring for Bivol. Zurdo is ready to fight too, but my man who gave me $10 earlier picking Bivol based off demeanor, he looks like a killer in there right now. Zurdo sticking his tongue out, smiling, jumping up and down, doing the extension of his jaw, the jaw stretches that Chavez popularized. But Bivol looking like a mean killer in there, all stone-faced, laser-eyed, as David Diamante gets set to make these ring introductions. Marcial Aguilar, shout out from San Diego. Ricardo Bernil, do you remember Edwin Valero? Of course I do. Shout out to Australia, please. You got it, Ricardo. But yeah, of course. Valero, man, he was going to fight Pacquiao. That was a fight Arum wanted to make. I think his last fight, he knocked out Antonio DeMarco, who went on to become WBC lightweight champion. But Valero was Pacquiao-esque in that he was wild with his combinations, but relentless and had great explosiveness and punching power and fought with a kind of savagery that's rare in the boxing ring. I know he's Jermell Charlo's favorite fighter of all time. And to this day, you gotta question, is that what really happened? The guy killed himself and killed his family, or did something funny happen in Venezuela? I believe the same country where Arturo Gatti, it may have been Colombia, but I think it was Venezuela where Arturo Gatti mysteriously got found dead. But no, I definitely remember Edwin Valero. It's a shame, what he did or what happened. So let's see. Bivol is ice cold. Absolutely. Says Punk Monk. Shout out from Oakland, California, Oliver C. Bivol looking like Ivan Drago. Yeah, just not blonde. Gotti got killed in Brazil. That's what it was. I'm sorry, Weedy Gonzalez. Thank you. So I don't know where I got Venezuela or Colombia from, but it was Brazil. Yeah. Igor. Yep, Brazil. Yep, my brother. Keep it. Yeah, we got the Gotti love in the chat. You guys knew right away. Forgive me. I know the wife was Brazilian, and then she collected the money after he died. Very sad what happened. We saw his son hitting the bag with Mike Tyson's son. Looks just like him. Has a left hook with thunder on it, just like the dad. Man, Bivol looks ready to go. Shit. Actually, speaking of Gotti, Bivol was really brought up by the people who brought up Gotti. Main events, Kathy Duva. Bivol, I remember I covered Bivol. First time I covered Bivol ringside was on the untelevised portion of Kovalev and Andre Ward's rematch. Bivol fought on the undercard, not on the pay-per-view part, and you knew he was going to be a killer then. You knew he was going to be a killer when he was getting first-round knockouts on Showbox back in the day. And then I remember he co-headlined with Kovalev in Atlantic City on HBO. Jim Lampley was so high on him before HBO closed its doors, and now here he is along with Beterbiev, the best light heavyweight in the world, and we're set for some action now. Guys getting their instructions in the center of the ring. Bivol, the taller man, here in the center of the ring. Bivol, the taller man, wearing his cup higher than his Bivol, but Bivol locking eyes with him with ferocity and intensity at the stare down. And we're set to go. Thank you guys, as always, for joining. Yeah, Igor, that's right. He is half Korean. That's right. Bivol, half Korean from his mother's side, like Gennady Golovkin, too, I believe. But here we go. Round one set to start. What should be a competitive top flight light heavyweight championship fight. Let's see if Bivol can cap off and become 2022's Fighter of the Year. If he wins this fight, Bivol will probably become the Fighter of the Year. Here we go. Round one. Bivol in his high guard. Zurdo's right hand, not quite as high. Likes to extend it out. Likes to move it down and up just a little bit and be busy with his feint. Bivol actually starting off on the front foot. Good feints from both fighters. Bivol blocking a left body shot by Zurdo after they both trade jabs. Good jab by both fighters to start. Bivol blocking the straight left from Zurdo. Zurdo trying to work his jab. Bivol short with the jab to the body. Zurdo gets his jab parried up top. It's Bivol slightly backing up Zurdo to start. Great feints from both fighters with their lead hands. Southpaw versus orthodox. Good jab lands for Zurdo Ramirez. And then Bivol comes back with his jab. It's Bivol getting Zurdo near the ropes to start instead of the other way around. Referee warns both about their lead foot. Very technical first minute. Good straight right hand to the body for Dmitry Bivol at long range. Oh, now Bivol lands a left hook after missing the sweeping right hand in close. Good left hook by Bivol. Zurdo trying to come down to the body. Good straight 1-2 for Dmitry Bivol as Zurdo tried to reach down to the body. Good defense by Bivol, blocking 2 or 3 jabs, and then he lands a 1-2 down the pipe on Gilberto Ramirez. Hard 1-2 for Dmitry Bivol to get him really going in this fight. Oh, good jabs landing for Dmitry Bivol, out jabbing Gilberto Ramirez and backing Ramirez up. Now he steps in with a 1-2, and Bivol and Ramirez getting his head down to get away from it. But Ramirez is getting the fight taken to him and getting out jabbed here in round one. And Bivol did already land a hard straight right hand. Now, Ramirez eats a jab after trying to land a right uppercut in the exchange. Just off with the right uppercut. Straight left through the center for Zurdo now. Zurdo trying to shoot off a 1-2-1, but good defense by Bivol. Good defense by Bivol. He catches the shots and lands a hard, stiff jab. Center ring. Bivol on the front foot, though. Blocking Zurdo's jab. Zurdo shoots a straight left to the body and lands a little right hand after it up top. Not a lot of power on it, though. Hard right hand to the body for Bivol. Oh, good jab lands for Zurdo. That knocked Bivol's head up. Good first round for both fighters. Bivol has a little bit of the better of it. But Zurdo has landed some shots as well. Hard, stiff jab by Bivol lands as Zurdo tried to reach and extend with his reach. Bivol caught it well and landed a hard jab. Bivol coming forward, parrying 2 or 3 jabs from Zurdo. Zurdo range finding with the jab, not sticking it in there hard. Bivol missing with a lead. Oh, hard straight left hand lands for Zurdo. He actually counterpunch. Oh, but then a hard right hand by Bivol. Bivol didn't like taking that straight left hand, and he fired in combination and nailed Zurdo with a hard straight right hand. It looks like Bivol has a little more oomph on his shots to the head than does Zurdo. Zurdo a little loosey-goose with that straight left hand. He landed it, but he ate a harder straight right hand back from Bivol, who gave him a look of ferocity to end round 1. 10-9 Bivol. Zurdo got in some shots too, picked up Bivol's head with a jab, landed a couple of shots, landed a straight left hand in the last 10 seconds, but the straight right hand back from Bivol had more conviction on it. 10-9 Bivol. Good first round. Good first round. 10-9 Dmitry Bivol. But good first round. Kind of like I expected it. Bivol a little tighter through the center. Straighter shots through the center. Better defense. Oh, 2 hard right hands landed for Bivol to finish those 10 seconds. And Zurdo smiled, but all right, here we go. Round 2, center of the ring. Zurdo starts with a jab to the body. Bivol keeping his hands up higher than Zurdo. Zurdo working his levels with that lead hand. Trying to work his feints up and down with it a little bit more than Bivol keeps it tight, keeps it up. Zurdo trying to shoot a 1-2 to the body, but catching it on the elbows is Bivol. Bivol backing Zurdo up in the first 30 seconds. Zurdo working his jab twice. Zurdo working his hands, lands a jab. Sometimes Zurdo will finish off combinations with a jab. And he did there. Bivol trying to close distance, being aggressive here. Shoots off the jab. Good defense by Zurdo, making him miss it. Zurdo tries to shoot a straight left to the body, but Bivol getting his glove down to block it. Good defense in the first minute by both fighters. Zurdo working his feints, trying to paw with the jab up and down, working levels with it. Bivol keeping his hands up, blocking it well, not letting it get through. Now Zurdo tries to counter with his left hand to the body, but good defense by Bivol. Bivol staying on the front foot. They're trading jabs. Zurdo getting his jab blocked, but then he lands his jab and fires a straight left to the body. Nice left hand to the body by Ramirez. Good counter shot. Good distance control here by Ramirez, giving Bivol his own medicine. A nice 1-2 through the center lands for Ramirez. Here Ramirez giving Bivol a little bit of his own medicine, boxing with him in the center of the ring and keeping his guard tight. Oh, nice left hand by Zurdo Ramirez. He expected the punches coming. He caught well, shot to the body, and it set up a beautiful straight left hand up top. But now Zurdo getting caught with a left hook in the exchange. Bivol with the shorter punches there when they both opened up in the center of the ring. Minute left in the second. Zurdo winning this round a little bit, but still there for Bivol if he could put something together in the final minute. Zurdo more active this round. Oh, good straight left hand by Zurdo. Sneaks it in, but then he eats a hard left hand. It was a jab by Bivol, but it was thrown more like a power shot. But good exchange there by both fighters. High-level stuff. Now Zurdo tries to work the body. Doesn't load up on it, but straight left and a right hook to the body in the center of the ring. Bivol backing Zurdo up along the ropes. 30 seconds left in the round. Nice head movement by Zurdo. He slips the left hook and gets it back in the center of the ring. Good adjustments by Zurdo this round. Boxing more. Going back to what he did as a 68-pounder, using his counterpunching skills and his boxing ability here. And it's a little bit of a role reversals. Bivol, finished good 1-2 down the pipe by Bivol to finish the 10th round. It's Bivol the aggressor. And Bivol finishing that round very aggressively in the combination. But I think Zurdo, he picked off at long range enough. He boxed well that round and actually punched in between Bivol's punches well and countered him a couple times with his left hand. Best shot of the round in an exchange. Both guys exchanging. Zurdo starting off to the body with 2 or 3 shots, but he finished off with a left hand straight down the pipe and knocked Bivol's head up. 1-1, 19-19. Good high-speed chess right now from both guys. High-level fight. 1 round apiece on my card. Bivol winning round 1, Zurdo winning round 2. Bivol, a little surprising. He's the aggressor in this fight, though. He's the one backing up Zurdo, taking the fight to him. Bivol fighting with a certain meanness. He was more methodical and technical against Canelo Alvarez, but tonight he's more the killer. Not really seen this temperament from Bivol in the ring before. He's usually very calm and the boxer, but tonight he wants to be a killer. We'll see. Zurdo out jabbing Bivol to start the first 10 seconds of the third. More active with it, peppering him with 3 or 4 shots with the jab. Not all of them landing, but more active with it. Good jab lands for Ramirez there. Excuse me, Ramirez. I meant Ramirez more active than Bivol with the jab to start round 3. Both guys feinting really well. Bivol trying to close distance. Ramirez moving his head out of the way of the 1-2. Good there. Ooh, Bivol trying to come in hard with a right uppercut. He ate a jab and got in a hard right uppercut to Ramirez's chest. Ate the jab to get it in there, but didn't get it in up top. We had to settle for the chest. Ramirez working his jab on the outside. Good defense from Bivol, but Ramirez trying to get those punch numbers up there. Oh, good counter by Bivol. Ramirez shot a straight left through the center, and he ate a 1-2 counter for being a little lazy with that left hand. He's got to throw it with conviction. Nice counter left hand to the body by Ramirez. Caught the jab of Bivol. Bivol tried to step in behind that jab, and he ate a body shot. Bivol just turns of body language a little bit the more confident of the two fighters, but you can't score rounds on that necessarily. Nice straight left through the center by Ramirez, but not a lot of power on it. And Bivol comes back with a hard 1-2. Doing a good job of whenever Ramirez extends those long arms, he steps in and shoots off a hard, compact shots that look like they got more power on it. Good jab by Bivol. Now Zurdo comes back with his jab, but Bivol landed his more on the mark there. 1-2 to the body by Zurdo, but not committing with power. A little weary of those counters coming back. Minute left in the third. Ramirez has been more active, but Bivol throwing the punches with more conviction, landing a little harder. Bivol letting his hands go here in these sequences, but not committing to those shots. Let's go of a straight left through the center, and Bivol tries to come back with hard 1-2s. Ramirez with decent defense coming back. Chess match now. 30 seconds left in the third. Close round. Ramirez boxing on the outside, using his length, letting his hands go, not overcommitting to these shots. Kind of like Bivol did to Canelo. Good jab on the outside from Bivol. By Ramirez. Ramirez not being very effective here, but letting his hands go more on the outside than is Bivol. Bivol looking to load up on counters. Oh, hard 1-2 to finish the round, though, by Bivol. Close round. I do feel like Bivol landed the harder shot. I'm going to edge that to Bivol, but it was a close round. Ramirez more active. Don't get me wrong, more active, letting his hands go more at range. Not as active from Dmitry Bivol as you'd like to see, but he did land the harder shots when he stepped in with those 1-2s at times. Chess match going on. Ramirez not fully committing to his punches in round 3, afraid of, because when you really commit, that's when you can get caught by the counter shot in the exchange. So he's trying to take a little something off the shot to where he can still see what's coming back. And he was getting off more often, but not committing those shots. Bivol punching with conviction, and Bivol trying to let the taller guy extend out, and then step in once he extends out with that, block what's coming in, and then step in, bang, bang, hard down the pipe. So chess match going on. See, some people in the chat got a 29-28 Ramirez. Not out of the question, but I think Bivol was just a little landed the harder shots that round. So 2-1 Bivol. Here we are in the fourth. Both guys working their jab to start it, range finding with it. Bivol more active to start the fourth with his jab than he was in the third. But it has been Bivol, the aggressor tonight, on the front foot, and he does look like the harder puncher, just from the eye test. Ramirez getting backed up, lands a jab. Both guys, again, fencing almost with their jab. Hard straight right hand to the body for Bivol. He's stepping in with more conviction on his punches right now, with more confidence. Good defense by Bivol, blocking the 1-2s by Ramirez. Ramirez not committing, not putting steam on those shots right now. Good jab lands for Ramirez, and he slips the counter back. But now Bivol lands a hard 1-2, and now Ramirez is along the ropes. He slips the left hook, but hard right hook by Ramirez lands, knocks the sweat off of Bivol's head, and that gets Bivol's respect for a second. Bivol was trying to get all over Ramirez after landing a hard 1-2, but Ramirez slipped underneath and then came back up with a right hook that knocked the sweat off of Bivol's head to keep him honest. Now it's the center of the ring. Ramirez trying to create room with his jab, that southpaw jab, but Ramirez is just the guy getting backed up. Body language isn't as good for Ramirez as it is for Bivol, but he did land that right hook to keep Bivol honest now. But Ramirez not committing, not stepping in hard with any shots. He's range finding with his punches now, not fully committing. Shoots off some straight punches, jab, left cross, but not committing to nothing. Taking the steam off those shots and reaching with them. That's not going to get it done. Got to take those chances. Bivol trying to shoot a hard 1-2 down the pipe. Shoots it beautifully. Shoots it with power. Ramirez trying to touch the body, but Bivol keeping those elbows in tight, catching it along the elbows. Fight not going like I thought it would be Ramirez more the aggressor, but it's Bivol the aggressor tonight. And Bivol, who looks like the harder puncher. 40 seconds left in the fourth. Good jab lands for Ramirez. Not much has happened since Ramirez landed that right hook to keep Bivol off of him, but Ramirez did enough to keep him off, but hasn't followed it up with anything himself. And I think it's a round where Bivol is still slightly ahead, but it's a close round, 20 seconds left. Bivol steps in with the jab. Ramirez blocks it. Bivol, good jab lands for Ramirez, and he gets out of the way of what's coming back. Bivol missing with his 1-2 after Ramirez landed that jab. That's it for the fourth round. So what happened in that fourth round, Bivol kind of, dictating things on the front foot in the first minute. Then he lands a hard sequence of, throws those hard 1-2s he's known for, lands a hard right hand. He thinks he's got Ramirez reeling a little bit, gets Ramirez into the ropes, tries to follow up on it, but then a right hook from an awkward angle landed kind of on the side and the top of the head, knocked the sweat off of Bivol's head, made Bivol kind of chill out and keep him honest. And after that, not much happened that round. So I still feel that was Bivol's round a little bit. 3-1 Bivol, but I could see this fight being 2-2 as well. But I got this 3-1 Dmitry Bivol after 4. Seeing scorecards all over the place. Seeing scorecards all over the place in the chat. It's not some close rounds here and there. But let me get this hair right. All right, here we go. Round 5. Back to the action. Been some close rounds. I got Bivol ahead 39-37. Landed the harder shots, and he's been the boss in there. Chris Mannix gave that last round to Bivol. Chris Mannix has this fight 38-38. DAZN has this fight even. I could definitely see this fight even, but I give an edge to Bivol through 4. Bivol staying on that front foot, taking the fight to Ramirez. Ramirez doing that kind of uppercut jab. Now he lands a jab. Bivol trying to jab the hard straight right hand to the body, to the pit of the stomach, lands for Dmitry Bivol off the jab. Now Bivol coming back with the jab. Right uppercut gets in for Ramirez, but he eats a left hook in the exchange. Oh, good right hand lands for Ramirez. Actually straight left through the center. Bivol caught it, but then Ramirez with an awkward angle on his right hand punch lands it. Sometimes Ramirez will throw like an uppercut jab. He'll do some awkward things with that lead right hand. And it landed that time. 2 minutes left in the 5th. Ramirez letting his hands go, but again, not sitting down on many punches right now, though. But getting off first here in the 5th. Now he lets go with 2 jabs. Bivol keeping his hands up to block it. Bivol trying to step in. Center of the ring. Ramirez touching with the lead left, just touching with it, not sitting on it. Bivol blocking it. Bivol now getting Zurdo near the ropes. Shoots a jab, but Zurdo tries to counter the body and gets his back off the ropes. Now he makes Bivol miss with a 1-2, a little short. Steps back in with a 1-2-1 of his own. Lands a couple of his lead hand. Oh, hard power shot. 1-2s like bombs down the pipe from Dmitry Bivol. Every now and then, Ramirez will step in and he'll land an awkward right hand. He'll land like a jab, but Bivol comes right back and makes him pay for stepping in range with hard 1-2s. Those were hard 1-2s down the pipe by Dmitry Bivol. Minute left in the 5th round. Bivol definitely winning this round based off those hard right hands down the pipe. And Bivol just more compact power puncher. Just looks like there's more explosiveness and more power on his right hands than whatever Zurdo's got coming back out of the southpaw stance. And he has Zurdo hesitant and timid in there. Zurdo is not sitting down on his punches, willing to commit. He's very much, half-heartedly committing to his punches because he wants to get his hands back in time to block what's coming back. And that means these punches are hurting him. It looks like these punches are hurting Gilberto Ramirez. Now Ramirez along the ropes. He eats those hard right hands down the pipe, hard right hand to the body. Ramirez not actually getting his head off the line to not eat him up top, but that right hand landed to the pit of the stomach. 10 seconds left. Good round for Dmitry Bivol. Good right hook by Ramirez, but Bivol rolled some of the steam off it. That right uppercut jab landing for Ramirez, but not a lot of power on it. That's definitely Bivol's round with some hard right hands down the pipe. Beautiful 1-2s by Dmitry Bivol. And Bivol just doing a great job of range of understanding the moment once Ramirez truly steps in with those longer arms. He knows he can't back out of range in time to get out of the ways of the 1-2s coming back. So beautiful job by Bivol. I got this 4 rounds to 1 Bivol, and that was the 1 round. That 5th round, it looked like Bivol starting to take control of the fight. Yeah, those counters are mean. T-Sizzle says Zurdo looking gassed. Those counters are mean. If it keeps going more rounds this way, Bivol might knock him out, says CX Never Dies. Bras Damani has it 5-0 Bivol. Kobir says great commentary. Thank you, brother. Javier Zavala likes Zoink School. Pat G, more talented and nice fundamentals. Yep. So, yeah, looks like it's Bivol in the chat. People believe is winning now. All right, 10 seconds into round 6. Zurdo is going to need to make something happen here. But it's just Bivol is kind of just technically better. He keeps a tighter guard. His punches come through the center. And Bivol has fought with a level of intensity and meanness we're not used to seeing tonight. Good jab lands from Bivol. Ramirez coming back with his jab, but Bivol throwing that jab with conviction, stepping into it with the shotgun jab. Oh, nice lead left hook lands for Bivol. Ramirez was expecting the jab, and he ate the hook. Came around the guard with it. Nice jab for Ramirez, but hard jab for Bivol, knocking Ramirez starting not to react well to these punches, starting to snap the head up with the jab now. And Bivol fighting much more aggressively than we're used to, keeping his hands up and stepping to Ramirez right now like he has all night and really sitting down on those right hands. That footwork, that bounce in his feet, it hasn't really been necessary for Bivol tonight. It has not been the Bivol we saw against Canelo. This is a different Bivol. This isn't the Bivol we saw against Joe Smith or Canelo or Sullivan. This is the Bivol we saw in the Showbox days, in the early HBO days when he was just going out there and going after cats. Halfway through the 6th, hard jab lands for Bivol. Good defense just a moment ago. He got Zurdo in the corner. Zurdo tried to throw get-off-me punches, we call them, out of the corner, but Bivol just took a step out of range, made him miss those 3 shots, and got right back on. Now Zurdo with a jab to the body, but not committing to it. No steam. Oh, hard 1-2 through the center for Dmitry Bivol. So much more power and conviction on those shots than Ramirez right now. Ramirez no power in his punches right now. No steam or snap on Ramirez's punches. Steps in with some shots, steps in with the jab, but it's nothing to really give Bivol issues right here in the 6th. Bivol just being very economic with his work rate, not being too active, but very accurate right now, stepping in with hard 1-2s whenever he deems it time to do it. Bivol dips down for a second, finally drops that lead hand and actually dips down, uses the head movement to get out of the way. Bivol probing with that lead hand at range. Boom, boom. Jabbing, walking forward, getting Ramirez near the ropes. 20 seconds left in the sixth. Ramirez weakly jabs to the body to try to keep Bivol off of him. Bivol gets Ramirez near the ropes. Straight left through the center by Ramirez. Oh, hard counter left hook by Bivol as Ramirez tried to step off the ropes and come in with combinations. Bivol with a good radar blocked what was coming back and checked him with a hook. Hard jab in the last 10 seconds for Dmitry Bivol. Throwing that jab at times, almost like it's a backhand, like it's his power hand and not his lead hand. You know, throwing that shotgun jab and stepping, turning it over real hard. Is Bivol 5 rounds to 1 Bivol on my card. I could see 4-2, but Bivol in control of this fight right now. And Zurdo, I don't see him turning this around. His energy doesn't look great. He doesn't look like the fresher guy, so it doesn't look like he could come on strong with superior punch output. Not a bigger puncher. He looks like he doesn't hit as hard as Bivol. So it's not looking good for Zurdo Ramirez right now. Beautiful 1-2s down the pipe on the replays on the zone for Dmitry Bivol. So, yep. Does it look like Canelo put up a better fight than Ramirez so far? Asked Bowtown. Yeah. Canelo got off to a good first 4 rounds. Canelo won the 9th round. I think Canelo definitely put together at least 4 rounds against Bivol. And it does, and I don't know. Ramirez is going to have to get it going in the second half. So far, he's won 1 round on my card. I could maybe see 2, but I don't know if he wins another round in this fight the way it's going. Here we are in the 7th. Chris Mannix now has it 4-2 for Dmitry Bivol on the DAZN card. Good jab lands for Bivol as he gets Ramirez on the ropes. Double jab for Bivol. He steps out of range and makes Ramirez fall short with a 1-2. Now they're in the center of the ring. Ramirez shoots that jab to the body, but it's blocked. They trade jabs in the center of the ring. Oh, hard left hook lands for Bivol. Ramirez dipped underneath the 1-2, but he caught the left hook coming back up. Good left hook on the top of Ramirez's head there for Bivol after missing the 1-2. Something top fighters do. They miss the first or the second shot and walk you into the third or the fourth one. And Bivol has done well at that in this fight. 1-2-1 for Ramirez. He loves that combination, but Bivol just does a good job of keeping it tight, keeping it high, and just stepping back and catching it, either parrying it or just stepping it out and making it fall short. Hard left hook knocks the sweat off of Ramirez's head. Again, Ramirez stepping out of the way of the first 2 shots, but the left hook caught him on the end of it, and it knocked the sweat off of Ramirez's head halfway through the round. Now a good jab lands for Bivol, and Ramirez eats the jab and misses the 3 shots, the 1-2-1 after it. That's never good when you're getting time with the jab and then missing your combination right thereafter. That means that guy's really figured you out. Ramirez letting his hands go, but good defense by Bivol. Now a right uppercut picks Bivol's head up a little bit. Decent right uppercut by Ramirez, but Bivol coming back, throwing with mean intentions. Hard 1-2s, right hand lands hard on Ramirez. Now a left hook lands hard on Ramirez, and the sweat is getting knocked off of Ramirez's head with these power shots. That was a beautiful left hook just a second ago by Bivol. Ramirez stepping back in, trying to get to the body, trying to take chances, but not getting the better of it. Ramirez showing his heart there after eating some bombs. He tried to get to the body and come forward, but there's no steam on his punches. Not compared to Dmitry Bivol. Good jab lands for Ramirez as he backs Bivol up, but that ain't going to get it done. Another jab lands for Ramirez, but he needs more. He needs power shots. Jab to the body by Bivol. 15 seconds left in the round. Another big round for Dmitry Bivol. He started to really bust Ramirez up with hard power shots. That was a hard right hand Ramirez took in the red corner. And then he took a left hook that knocked the sweat off his head too. 1-2 down the pipe for Ramirez, or for Bivol. Ramirez gets the glove up to block at that time. But tough round for Gilberto Ramirez. He staggers back, not staggers back, but looks a little weary going back to his corner in the 8th for the 8th round coming up. Gave that round to Bivol, 6-1 Bivol. Big seventh round for him. Didi in the chat says Bivol round 10 stoppage at 2 minutes and 37 seconds. We'll see. We will check back with you. Swift Sloan says Bivol might just be the new Mexican Slayer. He is. He is. Roger Mayweather would have been proud. Roger Mayweather, they call it Manny Pacquiao, was the true Mexican Slayer, beating Marquez, Morales, Barrera, Oscar Larios, and Hector Velasquez, and on and on and on, and David Diaz, and on and on, and Antonio Margarito, and on and on and on. But Bivol, after this fight, he ain't losing this fight, guys. Bivol's not. I mean, you never know. But I don't think Zurdo has 12th round Julio Cesar Chavez, Meldrick Taylor magic in him. He's looking weary, and there's no steam in his shots. Here we go in round 8. Round 8. And let's see if Bivol can put the finishing touches and shock people and actually knock Ramirez out and really put on a dazzling performance here and really cement the Fighter of the Year award. Bivol, again, tonight, guys, for you not watching, it's been an aggressive. Bivol has Ramirez on the ropes here in the 8th. Bivol is fighting like he wants to get this guy out of here tonight. It's been by far the most aggressive Dmitry Bivol we've seen at the championship level. He hasn't gone after his opponents like this since he was a prospect. Now Ramirez getting it back in the center of the ring, backing Bivol up with some jabs, at least getting some distance between him and Bivol now. Straight left to the body by Ramirez lands. No power on it, but got it in. Ramirez keeping the guard high, trying to get to the body after eating a jab. Eats another jab in the exchange by Dmitry Bivol. Bivol missing the right hand and the left hook, but finished up with the jab and landed it. Good jab by Ramirez. Missed the first jab and then popped it up a second time and landed it clean against Bivol. He has landed his number of jabs in this fight, but he can't get the cross going. He can't land the counter right hook. He can't land anything hard in the exchanges. Getting out punched in the exchanges. Bivol countering him and swimming without getting wet. Ramirez eating the shots in the exchanges most of the time. Sharper, more compact shots by Bivol. Ramirez letting his hands go, but good defense by Bivol. Trying to work some angles is Ramirez there. Work the right uppercut, set up the body shot, set up a straight left to the body, but just Bivol keeping the elbows in tight and the hands up and catching everything. And staying on the front foot, staying in pressure, staying in range to land if Ramirez overextends or gets too wide with his combinations. Ramirez with good defense along the ropes, but then he eats a left hook. Oh, Ramirez is hurt, eats a right hand and a left hook along the ropes. Ramirez had good defense for a second there, but then he ate a left hook along the ropes, and it had an effect on him. He was forced just to shell up for a second there. Now Ramirez punching, gets Bivol along the ropes, letting go of his hands, but Bivol with good defense like he did against Canelo, able to shell up against the ropes and not take damage. 20 seconds left. Bivol winning this 8th round as well. Ramirez coming forward, gets to the body. Good right hook to the body for Ramirez off the combination. But pity pat, and then a little bit of steam on that right hook to the body. And that's it for the 8th round. Ramirez tired and weary. 7 rounds to 1 for Bivol on my card. I could see it 6-2. Mula says Ramirez is in there like, God damn, bro, what the fuck did I do to you? That's a good one, because it's like, why did I get this angry Bivol? Why didn't I get the boxer Bivol? I'm getting this aggressive, punching with bad intentions, super confident after beating Canelo Bivol. God, I'd have appreciated. Yeah, you're right, Mula. The Plug 88 says Zurdo outboxing these dudes. What the fuck are they watching? The Plug, I say this respectfully. I hope you're trolling. You know, because I hope you're not just letting the fact that Ramirez is at times working his hands, running his hands, putting no steam on the shots, getting parried 90% of the time by. I hope you're just not simply giving Ramirez credit for just letting his hands go at range, getting off first sometimes. All the hard punches are being landed by Bivol. He's killing him with the 1-2 down the pipe every round. And it's been Bivol since the 4th or 5th round. It's not really close the last few rounds. I mean, maybe you're just, you're giving Ramirez too much credit for pity patting with his shots as Bivol measures and steps in and parries and catches on the elbows. But then inevitably when Bivol fires at various points in these rounds, he's landing hard and he's knocking Ramirez's head up in different directions and knocking the sweat off his head. So here we are in round 9, not much to choose from to start in the first minute. Bivol being economical, just catching shots on the elbows and on the gloves, and then stepping in range, really committing to those shots, sharp, fast, explosive, down the middle shots for Dmitry Bivol tonight. And he's landed some hard left hooks too. Hasn't all just been the 1-2. Ramirez getting off more in this first minute, but not effective with anything. Ramirez slipping the 1-2, lands a jab. Good jab for Ramirez. Bivol near the ropes for a change. Ramirez trying to step in. Good left uppercut from Ramirez, but he eats a harder check left hook from Bivol. Ramirez did get in the left uppercut there, but that left hook that came back was the better shot for Dmitry Bivol. Ramirez working his hands with Bivol along the ropes, but not committing to anything and not landing anything too clean. Ramirez, some decent work to the body. Bivol trying to come back up top to the head, but Ramirez smothering him a little bit. Now Bivol working with hooks along the ropes, swiping with both hands, landing a hard left hook there. Ramirez staying on top of him, gets in a left uppercut, even though Bivol keeping his hands up there, part of it got through. Ramirez letting his hands go with Bivol along the ropes, but nothing hard on these shots. Hard left hook in close for Ramirez. Another left hook lands. Combinations for Bivol off the ropes. Bivol with the hard left hooks. Ramirez a little stunned in the center of the ring. Straight right hand lands for Bivol. Bivol did a beautiful job there, covering up, let Ramirez shoot off his pity patch shots along the ropes, and then he came off with hard, compact, explosive shots and rocked Ramirez with some left hooks, straight right hands. Oh, hard jab lands for Bivol. Bivol just doing a great economic job of playing defense, and then being accurate and explosive and compact with his power shots coming back. Hard 1-2s and then compact left hooks from Dmitry Bivol. Wins round 9. Another round in the bank for the WBA light heavyweight champion on his way to winning Fighter of the Year, guys. 3 rounds left. It's been all Dmitry Bivol these last several rounds. Let's see it. Sonia Dumas. Sean is hoping for the great white hype, Sonia, there's no white guy fighting in the ring tonight. Dmitry Bivol is Korean and from like the Dagestan kind of area of Russia where, they're like, most of them believe in Islam and he's half Korean. And yeah, if I'm going to be biased to anything, it's the Mexican. My son's Mexican. My wife's Mexican. You see Morales and Barrera and Canelo right there. Do we have a white fighter on the wall? You know what? We need some representation. I need Rocky Marciano or Jake LaMotta on that wall or something. I don't know, maybe Caleb Plant. So, but anyways, back to the fight. Round 10, here we go. Oh, Ramirez stepping in with some hard shots, but there's only so much steam Zurdo's been able to muster on his punches since about the 3rd or 4th round. First 2 or 3 rounds, there was some snap on Zurdo's punches, but after that, it just hasn't really been there. Zurdo letting his hands go here in the first 10 seconds. Mannix has it now, 7 rounds to 2 for Dmitry Bivol after 9 rounds. So Mannix has Bivol pulled away with this fight. I agree. I could see it even 8-1 Bivol. Good jab, lands hard for Bivol. And Ramirez, he ran his hands in the first 30 seconds, but not a whole lot effective. And the pattern of the fight has really played out. Bivol just taking his time before he steps in with hard combinations, and he did that just now. Hard combination, 45 seconds into the 10th, lands for Bivol after letting Ramirez work his hands and run his hands. It's been Ramirez on the front foot more these last couple rounds. Bivol boxing more now after fighting much of the fight on his front foot. He's boxing a little bit now and happy to let Ramirez shoot off his shots, shoot off his load, and then step in with accurate power shots, 1-2s primarily. Ramirez, though, having a decent 10th round here. Bivol not active yet. Has fought in spurts a little bit these last 2 or 3 rounds, but he's been so effective in those spurts, it hasn't mattered. Ramirez getting Bivol on the ropes. Bivol ready to shell up in that high guard like we saw against Canelo, and he does that just there. Blocks the combination punches from Gilberto Ramirez. Ramirez, though, maybe a little ahead in this 10th round. Bivol hasn't done much here this round. Did land a hard combination about 45 seconds into it, but that was it. Other than that, Ramirez has been the consistent fighter on the front foot. Oh, good right hand for Ramirez. Faked the left and then stepped in, got some power on the right and landed it good. Left uppercut for Ramirez, working his hands and then smothering Bivol along the ropes. Ramirez may be on his way to winning the 10th round. Center of the ring, Bivol, high guard, not letting his hands go. Ramirez probing, looking for openings. Ramirez gets a left hand to the body off the jab and moves his feet off the line. Double jab for Ramirez, straight left hand lands on the chest of Bivol. Bivol missing with a left hook, and Ramirez able to keep it long and land a jab after making a miss short with the hook. 20 seconds left. Ramirez on his way to finally winning a round for the first time since the 3rd or so. Double jab for Zurdo, comes in with a left to the body, eats a left hook up top, but that's not going to be enough, that counter for Bivol this round. Ramirez not doing anything spectacular in the 10th, but hard jab lands for Bivol. And actually, the hardest punches that round were still landed by Bivol. Bivol landed a couple of hard left hands, but kept his foot off the gas for basically most of the 3 minutes. I'll give that round to Ramirez based on, just consistency. But honestly, even the hardest punches that round were still 2 left hands by Dmitry Bivol. So I got it 8 rounds to 2 after 10. Let's see. Let's see here. Better Biev, man. That's going to be a good fight. I'm really digging your commentary, my man, to the point I've logged out of the zone just to listen to your blow Bible. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Ness M says, great commentary. Appreciate it, man. Bivol, Ronaldo Jimenez says, Bivol's loading up all his energy for a huge 10-piece to end the fight. Hey, hey, my man who predicted 2 minutes, 37 seconds in the 10th, you were off, man. Too bad. It's all right. All right, round 11. And Ramirez comes in with a hard straight left hand down the pipe off the jab. But nothing to trouble Bivol. Let's see if Ramirez can stay consistent like he was in the 10th. Let's see if Bivol puts his foot back on the gas after taking the 10th round off. Good jabs landing for Ramirez at long range. Another jab lands for Ramirez at long range. Not a lot of snap on it, but they're landing. Now Bivol throws a hard jab to the body. Bivol coming with a 1-2-3 up top, but Ramirez moving his head out of the way. Tries to step in with a straight left hand, but Bivol taking that half step back makes him fall short. Now Bivol steps in with a 1-2-3, but good head movement by Ramirez. Straight left for Ramirez, and Bivol comes back with the jab. Right uppercut just missed for Ramirez, and he gets his hands up to block the 1-2 combinations coming back down the pipe from Bivol. Now Bivol lands a left hook. They trade jabs. 1-2-1 lands for Bivol down the pipe. Right hand down the pipe lands for Bivol after missing the left hook, getting it blocked. Straight right hand for Bivol. Bivol landing some hard right hands down the pipe right here. Putting his foot back on the gas. Hard left hand to the body for Ramirez, but he eats a right hand up top as a counter. Bivol's throwing the 1-2-3, but Ramirez dipping his head out of the way in the center of the ring, gets out of the way of it. Now there's a headbutt. Ref makes him time out for a second. Ramirez tired, didn't like the headbutt. All right, halfway through the 11th. Good jab for Ramirez. Ramirez active, letting his hands go. Trying to salvage something in these last 2 rounds. Eats a jab, but lands a hard left to the body, but a hard left hand for Bivol. He shoots off those 1-2s, and sometimes he'll throw the jab like a power shot. He'll step on it and turn it over. And that's what he did there. Minute left. Bivol, better guard, blocking the shots coming back and returns fire with those 1-2s down the pipe. Mixes in a left hook. Left hook gets in after a straight right hand. Gets around the guard as Ramirez got his hands up but couldn't block the left hook. Bivol outlanding Ramirez down the pipe. Now Ramirez lands a jab, but Ramirez stepping in, lunging in sometimes and getting caught as he walks in. Ramirez does a good job using his length, but then still tries to step in to get to the body, get the uppercut off. And he just getting outboxed, getting beaten in a battle of distance, battle of jabs. It's been a good chess match, but Bivol's been the better chess player and has had better fundamentals, tighter guard, and more straight, compact shots. When they open up and they exchange, Bivol's winning almost every exchange. He does it just now, 10 seconds left. Ramirez trying to step in and open up, but the more compact shots getting through and Bivol winning him those exchanges. Ramirez sometimes throwing arm punches, kind of a little tired, not a lot of steam on it. And when they both open up, Bivol's just more compact, more sizzle and snap on it, and better technique on it. And that was another Bivol round. 9-2 on my card heading into the final round. Thank you guys for rocking with us throughout this fight. Tell you what, though, man. Bivol and Beterbiev. It's a good fight, man. I might favor Beterbiev. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. Beterbiev's got to bring his balls. He's got to be ready to take one to land one. He can't. He's not going to be able to box with Bivol like he did against Joe Smith. But I feel like Beterbiev is the more gifted fighter, not athletically. Not athletically. Bivol, but Beterbiev, he showed me something in that Joe Smith fight that he did have some footwork and could punch off of pivots. And I think the gap between Beterbiev's punching power and Bivol's is greater than Bivol's edge and athleticism and speed. That's a real pick'em fight. Oh, good 1-2 down the pipe by Zurdo Ramirez to start round 12. Ramirez needs a knockout on my card, guys. So here we are in the 12th for the WBA Light Heavyweight Championship. Bivol fought very aggressive fight the first 7 or 8 rounds. And down the stretch of the fight, took his foot off the gas a little bit, but knew when to unload his signature. Oh, good jab. That uppercut jab from Ramirez, picking Bivol's head up here in the 12th round. Good jab again for Ramirez, trying to step in and get things going. He slips the 1-2, stays in range. Oh, a double jab lands for Bivol, though, and then a little right hand. Didn't have full snap on the right hand, but 2 hard jabs for Bivol. Ramirez trying to hook off the jab, coming forward, but good lead hand defense and blocking by Dmitry Bivol. Oh, beautiful, beautiful job by Bivol, getting his head off the line and then stepping in with a left hook after making Ramirez miss his left hand out of the southpaw stance. Great job there by Bivol. Ramirez reaching with an overhand right hand with his lead, kind of throwing it like a half hook, half jab, landed it on Ramirez, but not a lot of power on it. And again, it's Bivol landing the hard power shots this round. And for you guys that haven't been able to watch the fight at home, there's just been no snap or steam on Zurdo Ramirez's punches after the 3rd round. Been so much more snap and power on the power shots coming down the pipe from Dmitry Bivol. Big left hooks land in close for Bivol. Ramirez rocked a little bit with a minute left. Bivol doing a beautiful job of letting Ramirez shoot off his little pity pat shots and then stepping in hard. And he did that just now with the left hook, and it rocked Ramirez. Ramirez, still a dog, coming in, letting his hands go. But he's been rocked a half dozen times in this fight. Not to the point where his legs aren't underneath him or he's on Queer Street, but he's been buzzed a number of times by Dmitry Bivol with the left hook, a couple of times with the right hand. Dmitry Bivol's left hook has been money tonight. We all know about the 1-2s, but he has hammered Ramirez with that left hook a number of times, checked him with it. So great stuff by Dmitry Bivol tonight. 30 seconds left, and he's on his way to staying undefeated, staying the WBA champ, and becoming the fighter of the year. 15 seconds left. Ramirez, 1, 2, 3, no steam on it, not landing it. Bivol stepping back in with 10 seconds left. Blocks shots coming back, digs to the body, finishes up with a left hook up top. Ramirez runs a 1, 2, 3. They exchange punches to end the fight, and right hands get in for Bivol, and that's another Bivol round. I gave him 10 out of 12. 10 rounds to 2, Dmitry Bivol. 0 chance Ramirez gets a robbery. That was all Dmitry Bivol, particularly after the 3rd round. It's good stuff. Bivol was ahead from the jump. He won the 1st round, was more accurate, more explosive, and some people wondered who would be the bigger puncher, and it was Bivol tonight. Bivol looked like the more natural light heavyweight with power. Ramirez's conditioning, not great tonight. He maybe lets himself get too big in between fights. Yeah, he went the hard 12, but the steam left his punches after the first 3 rounds or so. And Bivol had him very weary to commit to anything, to really sit down on anything. He didn't want to overcommit, and then that's when you really commit to the shot in the exchange. That's when you can get caught with the full brunt of the other shot coming back and not see it coming and get knocked out. So big respect for the power of Dmitry Bivol, who was the aggressor for 3/4 of the way until the last quarter of the fight, where he let Ramirez come to him and knew Ramirez had to play catch up. And so he let Ramirez run his hands and covered up like he did against Canelo a number of times. Let him run his hands and then pick his spot once he was finished to be more accurate and get off. But hell of a performance by Dmitry Bivol. So he was a guy I thought Canelo was going to beat in May. Proved me wrong there. I learned my lesson. I picked him to win tonight. I thought that I still underestimated him. I thought he'd win 8 or 9 rounds. He won 10 or 11 rounds. And I thought that Ramirez would make him play the boxer like Canelo did, but he was the boss. And Dmitry Bivol, they say, a champion gets 50% better once he wins the title. Well, Dmitry was already the champion, but after beating Canelo, it looks like Dmitry Bivol's definitely gotten better. He can really fight coming forward and backwards. He's a complete fighter. He's strong. He has great stamina. He has a great jab. He can put punches together in combination. He can punch going backwards or forwards. He now has a left hook. It's not all just the 1-2 now. He has a good left hook. No uppercuts for Dmitry Bivol, and still not a real body puncher, although he threw some hard straight right hands to the body a couple times. So still some things, if he wants to improve, he can still work on the body shots. He can still work on some uppercuts on the inside, but his left hook has gotten better, and he's just gotten better across the board. We know the fight to make. It's him and Beterbiev. I love Canelo, but Canelo against Golovkin was the same guy he was against Bivol, meaning he's taken a step back since his 2020 and 2021 peak form. The Canelo of 2022 just doesn't stand a chance against Bivol. Maybe after 60 professional fights and at 32 years old, Canelo can find vintage form again, but outside of that, he ain't beating Bivol. And even if he can find that form again, he might not be able to beat this guy. Unanimous decision. All 3 cards go to Dmitry Bivol. So, we want the Beterbiev fight. I look, Canelo's Canelo. So you always give the money man a second crack at it if he wants it. But I didn't see anything tonight that makes me think. I saw Dmitry Bivol only get better since he fought Canelo, and I saw Canelo look just as flat against Golovkin as he did against Dmitry in May. So Canelo, you're within your right to take another crack at it if you want it, but if not, let's go ahead and find out who's the real man at 175 between these 2 Russian monsters, Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. What a great fight that's going to be. Bivol is a hell of a technically sound fighter who can punch, and Beterbiev is a hell of a puncher who is technically sound. So that is a great 50-50 type matchup. Chat, who you got? Put in 1 for Bivol, 2 for Beterbiev. Yeah, Bivol's definitely fighter of the year. Definitely fighter of the year. Canelo and Ramirez get you fighter of the year. His opponents had a combined record, I think, of 101-1. when you combine Ramirez and Canelo's records. You could argue behind Canelo, Ramirez was Mexico's best fighter. Certainly in these upper weight classes, he's the best Mexico had to offer. If we count Chicanos, though, David's more dangerous. But 1-1-1. Ooh, big dog. My man BT, the head honcho at FightHype says he got Bivol. That holds weight with me. Whoever BT picks, that holds some weight with me. I've always picked Bivol. I might be on the better BF side now. But maybe, you know, styles make fights, so you can't go crazy with common opponents. But Better BF, what he did to Joe Smith, Dmitry Bivol didn't do that. But this is a different Dmitry Bivol. This Dmitry Bivol is better than the guy that fought Joe Smith. But man, that's a hell of a fight. Bivol, you know, usually puncher versus boxer, the boxer has the edge, and we do think Bivol's the slightly better boxer than, or just the better boxer, period, than, and he's younger, and he's strong. I mean, just look at this kid's body, the way he's built all around. He's a strong kid. He could take a shot. So he'll be able to hold up to the power against Better BF better than most. That's just a hell of a fight. Yeah. Maybe Bivol does deserve the edge. Just you got to give the edge to the boxer at the highest level, right? Whoever has the superior boxing skills has the edge. But Better BF's power. Bivol is so good at forcing you to. He's just so good at getting you to step in. He's a good counterpuncher. He doesn't do it in the, like, when we think of counterpunchers, Pernell Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather, Bernard Hopkins, James Toney. They make you miss in a sexy way, boom, bang, and come back with it. He just keeps it tight. And parries with the lead shot, and then steps in, boom, two, down the putt. You know, but he's a good counterpuncher. Great timing. Ooh, yeah. My big dog at FightHype says Caleb Plant should have the edge on Benavidez. Don't sleep on that. He got that Canelo swag too, despite the lot. I agree, because either that kind of fight's gonna break you or make you better. And against Anthony Jarrell, Caleb Plant looked better. That was the bet. That was the Jose Uzcategui Caleb Plant. You guys could go back and watch my interviews with Caleb before Canelo, and I'm asking him in so many words, did you lose your edge a little bit heading into this fight? Because I think fighting the Caleb Truax fight against Vincent Feigenbutz and against Mike Lee, Caleb still looked dynamite. But that third fight was one too many at that level of opposition. Caleb Truax and Caleb regressed in that fight. And he carried that version of himself into the ring against Canelo. After this Canelo fight, I'm seeing that Jose Uzcategui, Mike Lee, Caleb Plant back. The guy who's throwing with conviction, like Bivol did tonight, who's believing in his punches, who's stepping into it, who's you know, coming in with snap and explosiveness on the shot. And he dropped Uzcategui twice with that left hook in that fight. He knocked out Anthony Jarrell with that left hook in that fight. I got Benavidez stopping him late in a great fight. But the way David walks in straight up sometimes, doesn't come in with the bend in his knees like Canelo. The way he comes in straight up and squares his feet sometimes, he's right there to get smacked with that left hook coming in. And Caleb, when he fights the way he has against Darrell and Uzcategui, when he's firing on all cylinders, that left hook has been proven to have more pop on it than we think. So I still got David in the second half of that fight, but he better be ready to use his jab in the center of the ring. He cannot fight Caleb Plant the way he fought Anthony Darrell, just waiting until he gets this guy into the corners and into the ropes to fire. He'll be waiting too long and let too many moments and rounds get away from him against Caleb doing that. But I think David will put it together and figure it out as that fight goes along. Let's see. Pat G, nah, bro. Benavidez is Poppy Grinder said Benavidez is stiff, same as Ramirez. No. Benavidez has a totally different level of hand speed and punching power than Ramirez has. Ramirez doesn't have the hand speed or punching power David has, and David has a better jab than Ramirez. Ramirez maybe is a little trickier and has more experienced and has better feet. Ramirez has better feet than David, but David to me is a more dangerous overall package than Zurdo. And rumor has it that David beat up Bivol in sparring when they sparred in California. By we don't we're not going to reveal who, but we've heard from people that were there that day when they sparred that Benavidez got the better of that. So, but that's sparring. Weedy Gonzalez said Benavidez cut Darrell's whole eyelid with the jab. He's got a great jab, and that's going to be the key against Caleb. Is if he doesn't use his jab in the center of the ring, Caleb will put him in circles and leave him in no man's land at range. But David, with his hand speed and his jab, doesn't have to be at no man's land at range. He's got a weapon. He's got the jab at long range with the speed to match. So he'll figure it out, I think. Zurdo got his payday. Gilberto, yeah, I think that was it for Ramirez. I don't think you're going to see him get to that level again and pull it off. I think he was what he was tonight, and as the fight was progressing, I came to remember that's right. This is kind of how he's been since 168. He's always been a guy that as the fight goes on takes less and less steam off the shots and so kind of starts to pity pat a little bit, and that's why he, even though he was almost 6'4" at 168, he didn't get a whole lot of knockouts. He was a guy that when he sat down could get some power on the left uppercut, but yeah, not tonight. That shot just wasn't there. Damn, I'm seeing all over the place. Hustle Man, Benavidez by stoppage in 7-9. I'm seeing Mundo say Caleb beats Benavidez easy. So that about does it for here. David Morrell is fighting. I can't say this man's name. Your boss Selenov. I can't say his name. He won the gold medal, undefeated from Kazakhstan at middleweight, moving up to 168 for the David Morrell fight tonight on Showtime. That's a really good fight because that guy had a lot of hype coming out of the amateurs, winning the gold medal. He's undefeated. Like Janibek and Golovkin, he has that Kazakhstan style with a million amateur fights over there. Won every tournament there was to win. And wasn't able to get any big fights at 160, so he goes up to 68 against David Morrell. That's a really good step-up fight for David Morrell and a chance for this guy. Your boss, can you guys help me say his name? Does anyone know this man's name? Let me look him up for a second. Your boss Anala versus I got Janibek Alim Kanala, but this I can't get your boss Anali. Adios, Ados, your Bostonelli. So yeah, he fights David Morrell tonight on Showtime. That's a good fight. What do you think, chat? Should I hop back on in a little bit? Hop back on live, and we'll do the David Morrell fight live. 1 for yes, 2 for I could seriously give a shit less, and I'll see you later. Who's Benavidez fought? Asked Baron XV. Anthony Dorel. He fight Anthony Dorel, one champion. Anthony Dorel. That's who he fought. Ooh, 2. Do you feel that? You feel that way? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, you have a life too. It's okay. It's okay. We got to get these 3,000 views. Yeah. Okay. 1. Okay, see? You are overridden by the ones. The FightHype vote counts for 10. But you got over. Let's see. Did we get 10 ones to overdo you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You are overruled, motherfucker. So yeah. Okay, cool. So all right, I'll check back in. Main event time. We'll just do main event. I won't come back in for the co-main. We'll jump right back into David Morrell's fight. That should be a good scrap. So I'll hop in maybe 10, 15 minutes before main event time starts. We could talk, we could chat, we could bullshit, and then we'll get to the final big fight of the night, David Morrell. A guy that his manager, and I know this is what managers do, but Louis de Cuba Sr. His son, Louis DeCubas Jr., manages Caleb Plant, manages a lot of top fighters, especially over on PBC. But Louis DeCubas Sr. brought over Joel Casamayor. He brought over Guillermo Rigondeaux. A lot of, basically all, Lara, all the great Cubans you think of, a lot of them, almost all of them in recent times were brought over by Louis DeCubas. And Louis DeCubas assured, he's told me this off camera too, not just on camera where he's selling his guy. He thinks David Morrell is going to become the greatest Cuban fighter to make it to American shores ever. And, you know, because so many of their great fighters never made it here. Teofilo Stevenson and on, Felix Savon. Andy Cruz still hasn't fought in America yet, you know, the lightweight gold medalist. But he always has assured me this guy is going to become the first guy in America from Cuba to become a star, not just to win a title or to be respected by boxing fans, but he really thinks David Morrell can become that dude. So much so he was flirting with throwing him in there with Benavidez with just 6 or 7 fights. So check back in. We'll be back in for Showtime later tonight. David Morrell, I'll be live. Let's have some fun. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. Evil.